Good afternoon, ma'am and classmates. I am Shalame G. Dakulan from BE Ed2, a second-year student. So now I am going to discuss about my report about typical and atypical development. As children grow, there are different ways that they need to develop. The different childhood developmental stages help to track child progress. The different developmental childhood stages help to track a child's progress. The child will need to develop cognitive, language, physical, and social skills. From the baby was born to the time they go off along to college, they go through different developmental stages. Let's define typical development. Typical development refers to as normal or typical development and is used to monitor a child's developmental progress, meaning typical development monitor the developmental progress of a child, while atypical development occurs when the child appears to lag behind or is way ahead of same age peers in any of the different skills. Development doesn't follow the normal course. It could include things like learning and social disabilities and disorders. Children have so many ways in which they need to develop, since each child develop at his own pace with his own particular strengths and weaknesses. Developmental milestones are things most children can do in a certain age. Skills such as taking a first step, smiling for the first time are called developmental milestones. Children reach in how they play, learn, speak, act, and move. Developmental milestones offer an important clues about a child's health. Monitoring children's development is helpful as a way to identify whether the child has any issues of concerns. If the child reaching milestones much earlier means he or she is normal. If it's not, it can be the earliest indication that a child may have developmental delay. Developmental milestones are things most children can do by a certain age. Children reach milestones in how they play, learn, speak, act, and move. Developmental milestones falls into categories of development called domains. The first is social or emotional. This domain is about how children interact with others and show emotion. Second, language or communication. This domain is about how children express their needs and share what they are thinking, as well as understand what is said to them. Third, cognitive learning, thinking, or problem solving. This domain is about how children learn new things and solve problems. It includes how children explore their environment to figure things out. And last is the physical development. This domain is about how children use their bodies, means the physical growth and strengthening of a child's bones, muscles, and ability to move and touch his or her surroundings. The most important reasons for monitoring each child's development is to determine whether a child's development is on track. Here are some examples of developmental milestones or typical and developmental delay atypical. Milestones at 6 months child, social or emotional. The child responds to other people's emotions and often seems happy. His language skills begins to say consonant sounds, jabbering with M and B. Cognitive skills begins to pass things from one hand to the other. The physical skills begins to sit without support. 6 months child warning signs of possible developmental delay. In his social skills, child doesn't laugh or make squeal sounds. In his language skills, child doesn't make vowel sounds like a, e, u. In cognitive, doesn't try to get things that are in reach, and in physical skills, doesn't roll over in either direction. Milestones at 9 months child. Social or emotional skills, clingy with familiar adults, has favorite toys. Language skills of a child, copies gestures, makes a lot of different sounds like mama, ma, and ba ba ba. These cognitive skills, child plays peekaboo, and physical skills, the child pulls to stand or crawls. In his warning signs of physical development delays, a 9 months child in his social skills doesn't babble. In language, child doesn't respond to own name. In his cognitive, the child doesn't look where you point, and physical skills doesn't seem to recognize familiar people. Milestones at 12 month child. Social skills of the child repeats sounds or actions to get attention, is shy or nervous with strangers. His language skills says mama and dada make sounds with changes into tone. Cognitive skills of these milestones, 12-month child, he follows simple direction. He or she follows simple direction. While in the physical skill, he may stand alone. While in the warning signs of possible developmental delay, the social skills of a child doesn't point to things. The language doesn't learn gestures like waving. In a cognitive, the child doesn't say single words. And in a physical, child loses skills he once had. Milestones at 18 months. The social skills of a child: play simple, pretend, explores with parents nearby. The language skills: point to things in a book or say several single words. The cognitive skills: the child knows how ordinary things are used or scribbles. Then the physical skills: the child walks it with a spoon. In this milestone of 18 months. While warning signs of possible developmental delay, the cognitive of the child doesn't point to show things to others. In the language skills, doesn't notice or mind when caregiver comes or goes. In the cognitive, a child doesn't gain new words or have at least 6 words. And in the physical skills, the child can't walk. Milestones at 24 months or 2 years old. In the social skills, the child plays mainly beside other children or copies others. In the language skills, uses 2 to 4 word sentences, knows names of body parts. In the cognitive skills, plays simple, make believe, can follow a 2-step instruction. In his physical, kicks, child kicks a ball and copies straight lines and circles. The warning possible signs of developmental delays: in his social skills, the child doesn't follow simple instruction. In the language skills, the child doesn't copy actions and words. In the cognitive, the child doesn't use 2 words phrases. And in a physical skills, the child doesn't walk steadily. Early identification or normal and atypical development. Typical or normal development: children gather information from people, things, and events in their environment. That's the normal development of a child. They organize this information in their minds and code it in ways that keep it usable and easily understood. And atypical development: children exhibit behaviors that fall outside of the normal or expected range of development. These behaviors emerge in a way at a pace that is different from their peers. So this is the characteristic of a typical development. So that's all of my report about typical and typical development. Thank you for watching.